Welcome. I'm James, and for anyone new here, they really are. Is it that side? Yeah, they really are my two, or were my two girlfriends in the picture here. It's not something I created in AI, which a whole bunch of guys accuse me of later, and I'll give you a bit more proof later. Sorry, I've got the live playing in front of me just to pick up tech mistakes before the end of the thing. So yeah, hopefully my two girlfriends. I've got some credibility on the subject of that women get turned on, and yeah, most older men just never see this coming. Okay, let's just get straight into this without any bullshit. Point number one: stop making these silly nice guy mistakes prior to sex. Oh, it's on the screen. Woohoo, we won one. Okay, I'm going to take questions on this soon, but this is definitely a rider downer. Of dinners, any dinners if you can manage it. Don't buy her flowers. Don't do anything you see in movies, basically. Don't buy her gifts. Again, this is prior to sex. Don't spend much money, especially if you've got quite a bit of money. If the girl actually is beautiful, don't ever call her beautiful or really comment anything about her body, because a lot of beautiful girls see that as quite offensive, really. Don't call her your dream girl. Don't hint that she could be your next girlfriend or anything seriously. Again, this is all before sex. Don't text her back and forth endlessly or as little as possible before you sleep with her. That sort of shows you're a low value guy, doesn't get it. Really try in 2025, 2020s, don't go on more than 3 dates prior to sex in most Western countries, unless you come from a pretty serious religious, whatever, Jewish, Islamic, whatever, Christian background. Don't let dates drag on for hours and hours and hours towards the bedroom. You need some sort of sexual escalation, unless you've got like absurd, whatever, charisma. And yeah, flowers and dinners and all this nice stuff you do for girls, that's great, but she doesn't get a bunch of flowers because she sucked your dick. She doesn't get a bunch of flowers because, you slept with her. She only gets that stuff when she's actually done something to earn it, to be a good girlfriend outside of whatever, giving you sex. So summing up, to buy or compliment your way into a girl's pants. I've been surrounded by models for the last 19 years in my business. They coach guys, and they just find it revolting. They just find it revolting. It's like, do you know how many guys are throwing themselves on me? So yeah, and also, if you're spending all this time texting her and thinking about her and buying her gifts, she hopes that you've got a hell of a lot more stuff going on in your life rather than just trying to get into her pants. That should be just a side project for your mission, which is what attracts girls massively. Yeah, I'd love to get questions on this, because some of these are pretty controversial, particularly for guys at sort of beginner intermediate level. I simply, because I could give you a lot of really good stuff that's to come, I think. But if you don't sort of start to eliminate most of these 10 mistakes, all the, I think, life-changing points that will follow, you'll lose it, most of it. Excuse me. If you just leave that there, please. Thanks. I wanted ice water, sorry. Anyway, they all just scream clueless, nice guy with no experience with attractive women. Which is the biggest turnoff of all. Something a lot of guys is that women seek out men with lots of experience with women, whereas men, most of us, certainly from any sort of traditional background, we seek out women with very little experience with men. It seems counterintuitive, but yeah, just read Descent of Man, Charles Darwin, he explains all that. So, okay, you've got the issue if you do all these 10 things, which again, I'd love to take questions on. For you guys watching that too, because a lot of guys are going to go, what in movies or other dating coaches have been telling me this for years. But I want to handle your feedbacks and objections on this. So if you do these 10 things and you got some money or you got some status, yeah, you're just opening yourself up to women who are quite like spending money on them. If you start breaking most of these rules, if you do have quite a bit of money and your goal is basically just to get as much sex as possible, yeah, I don't know, go for it. Because, yeah, there are a lot of girls you can easily buy their way into their pants, but the women you really want, the woman who, you might spend 6 months with or a year with or marry, have kids with, she probably won't be turned on by you just trying to, my dear. I mean, you can't understand how sick and tired hot girls get of that. I've lived in Manhattan for a time and done boot camps there and studied acting there, and I hung out with a lot of models there. And I mean, most of them just hide from all the hedge fund guys and the private equity guys and the Wall Street guys. They just find most of them revolting. Apart from most of their dicks won't work, so too much cocaine or the ridiculous lifestyles they live. A lot of them will hang out with the cool kids or whatever you call it, the Brooklyn, Williamsburg people. So that was a big lesson I had to learn in terms of trying to get models. So how do I know all this? Because since 2006, for 19 years of my life at time of recording, I have employed a bunch of beautiful female coaches to go on dates with my clients. And most of these girls are models, and like people test. Some of them have 2 degrees. One's a clinical psychologist, some's a data warehousing specialist, and yeah, the girls basically give guys life-changing feedback about what they did right, what they did wrong, and what the guy needs to do to improve his success with women dramatically, and break it down into steps for you. And guess what? It's my job to hear the girls, tearing, can you say this on YouTube? Tearing guys a new arsehole, as a client from South Australia coined that phrase. It's my job to take this, if you some girls just go to lunch and just tear the hell out of the guys they've been dating or in a relationship with. I sit and listen to hundreds, maybe 1,000 hours of that, and then I just channel it down to you. So yeah, 95 to 98% of men have no clue whatsoever about what women really want, or how to get women attracted to you, which is the topic of tonight's YouTube live. So let me see. I haven't got the wonderful test. Does anyone have any questions on my points? I thought they'd be quite controversial. My YouTube live audiences, for anyone who's new here, they tend to not ask questions for the first half hour, 45 minutes, and then they just give us a barrage of them later on. So I think it might be really valuable. I'll probably get lost. Don't buy flowers. Don't buy dinners. Don't buy gifts. Don't spend much money. Don't call her beautiful, especially if she actually is beautiful. Girl a hint that she could be an ex-girlfriend seriously before sex. Don't text back and forth endlessly or call her and spend hours on the phone or even half an hour on the phone. Try not to go on more than 3 dates prior to sex. I think it makes you look needy. There's a lot of whatever. It's not all black and white. There's great, like very, very busy girls might only be able to manage half-hour coffee, a few of them. You got to take that into consideration. Don't let dates drag on for hours and hours unless they're heading to bedroom. And flowers, dinner, all this stuff that the media tells you to do because they want to sell more stuff. All that that comes after. She's had sex with you. It's not a mechanism to try to get her into bed. So yeah, 19 years of dating, coaching, whatever success I've had myself with women. Attraction. It's not about being rich. You go on YouTube and you hear you got to be. But if you ask any woman, there's a whole bunch of stuff on that. And when you're too handsome or too rich, it actually makes things much, much worse. You can't be too masculine, though. Women love masculinity. Yeah, so that's a big one for them. So yeah, attracting women, it's not about being rich. It's about presenting yourself and acting like the man women think could be rich. Hope this is of value to you. I think it's really valuable. I would have loved to know this. And secondly, attraction isn't about being 6'2", ripped, muscular, whatever, 225-pound, 100-kilo cage fighter. It's about acting like a guy who is that guy. Does that make sense? And in the modern world, they don't want that. I mean, they won't turn it down. And many girls do love the super tough guy, but women aren't looking for that super ripped cage fighter. They're looking for a guy who acts like that and they feel protected. And in the 2020s, basically for the most in a very, very dangerous place, that's really about your social skills and your ability to read signals. It's not about having the huge muscles, because climbing up status hierarchies for our lifetime is about social and networking skills and adding value to other people and some sort of politics. It's not about being the biggest, toughest, being able to beat up the next guy, if that makes sense. I don't know how in a fight against most guys his age. Probably not that great. Zuckerberg might do okay though with all this BJJ. So yeah, I've designed these 7 points to basically, I mean, most of the guys here are probably, even we're taking on a lot of clients in their 60s now. Yeah, you probably don't have the body you did or whatever. You probably got some gray. Some of you might have a lot of gray. Some of you might be starting to wrinkle. All these things that typically, whatever, a girl 10, 20 or more years younger than you probably isn't ideal. But yeah, these points are designed to get that girl crazy interested in you. And yeah, they're stated her. Did I drop off? Jesus Christ. No way, no way, no way. Oh, hopefully not. Anyway, it looks like I'm still on. This is going to kill me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I might just okay, I might just back up. My girlfriend, I met both those girls when I was 22, and yeah, the one on the blonde had like potentially the best body I've ever seen in a Western country. It was ridiculous, like carved by Michelangelo. Anyway, so okay, yeah. Just to give you a practical example, if I didn't get my eyebrows waxed, I'd have these huge caterpillars there, and no girl would ever go. So I went to Bondi Beach beautician to get my eyes done. There was a girl there who was really good at it. And yeah, they charged like $14 million for a 90-minute facial or something. Anyway, I'm sitting in the waiting room, just waiting for them to come out. And then the girl comes out, she takes me into the room. And then as soon as I walk into the room, it's like, this effing leaf blower starts up, drumming in my head. And I asked him, what's this? With a bit of anger, because I wanted to get it done and get on and get back to work. She says, oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing, that guy does that every week, there's nothing we can do about it, I'm sorry. So I'm like, I'm not lying for 20 minutes listening to this. So I just walked towards the guy quite purposefully, and she says, oh, if you could possibly say something to him, the sort of the manager girl, he does this every week. And I just said, it'll be my pleasure. And I can't, like, dude, what on earth are you doing? These women are trying to run a business selling expensive facials to customers. It's like a war zone in there. You're scaring all their customers away. This just isn't fair. And yeah, the truth is I wasn't doing this to show off to the girls. I was doing it because I was never going to put myself in that situation. But it turned out that this helped me show off to the girls. So I can't remember exactly what I said. It was, can you please stop this right now? So my was polite. My voice was, can you please stop this right now? And no BS, this guy must have been 20 kilos, 30 kilos. What's that? 44 pounds, 66 pounds, heavier than me. And no bullshit, I wasn't going to lie there listening to a leaf blower while I get this thing. I had to get back to work. I stared him down like Mike Tyson in the 80s, and this guy would have snapped me in half. As I said, he was probably in his 20s. This, my friends, is where high-level social intelligence and reading signal. If he had looked back at me like he's going to kill me, I might have backed off then. But he didn't. He's probably thinking, oh, I could probably get in trouble if, all the business owners complain about me doing this. Just for anyone who hates leaf blowers as much as me, I don't know if there was a leaf there. He might have been blowing a little bit of dirt around. It's like the most expensive shopping street in Bondi Beach. There's not many leaves or trees, but anyway, these guys have to do it. So anyway, I walked back in. I wasn't even thinking about the girls, and big-headed. If Leonardo DiCaprio had walked in there, I don't know if he'd have got a dramatically better reception than me. This is conceded. I should probably edit this out of the final video. But the girls were like, wow. Yeah, I could have probably maneuvered my way into bed with quite a few of them that day if I wanted, because this was some serious attraction. Again, you can see these, whatever, Arnold Schwarzenegger arms. It's pretty pathetic. Okay, I'd seen that Austrian girl before. Word to me. She's doing her job, but she's very good. So it usually takes like 15 minutes to maybe half an hour. She just never shut up, asking me questions, crapping on about this and that and this and that. And yeah, something stopped that I need to fix up again. And yeah, basically, she just never shut up the whole interview. She was asking me, do you live in Bondi? Where cafe, have you tried out this new one? And this like absolutely killer D-cup chest, spent basically, I don't know, half, 2/3 of the eyebrow waxing just pressed into me, rubbing on me. And I'm just like, wow. And this girl, I asked her later, out of interest, she was 21. So yeah, you can see you don't need to be tall, rich, and handsome. You don't need to have big muscles. You just need to act like a man. And yeah, it's incredible there. Some great questions. Thank you, guys. What would be the top 3 things women want? Okay, Simon, be a man. Be a man and be a man. Basically, if I'm coaching guys from America, Australia, Canada, just be a man, be a man, be a man. Women want to be women, men want to be men. And you can be short and not. Oh, we've got to put these on the screen. Sorry. Okay, where's it? Huh? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to put it on the screen from YouTube, but I need to go into my other thing to do that. So let me see. I'll be with you guys in a second. Why does that keep crashing? This is annoying me. Okay. What are the top 3 things women want? Okay. Well, the top 3 things women want. And be a man would be the top 3, which most guys aren't, because we've been so beaten down savagely by society and having this very online life, not to mention all the chemicals that we've been assaulted with since we were boys through whatever thing. But that means having high-level social skills and protecting her. And it all gets back to being able to climb up status hierarchies. That's the number one thing. Better. Men look at a girl and they see youth and beauty and boobs, which provide food, and slim hip to waist ratios, which mean all those boobs are actually going to make food in a man's eyes, and long, thin legs and symmetry and thick hair and glowing eyes. We think she's going to have healthy kids, and she's going to have a lot of kids because she's young and whatever, busty. So yeah, we're attracted to that. Whereas women, so men see boobs and legs and pretty faces, whereas women the exact opposite. They see how, what they really see is your position in status hierarchies. That's what they really, really want. Magnus, what are your tips for losing insecurities? That's a fantastic question. Could you do me a huge favor? Thank you, Tech Guy, and answer that. Ask that later in the night, because that's going to take quite a bit of time, and I'd love to answer that, but I want to do it justice, not just fly through it to get to point 2, which happened. Luke, what about women that refuse to do first coffee dates because they claim they're low effort, not intentional? That's a woman's test. That's a woman's test. Tell the woman, go, okay, I'm a busy guy. Call me when you're okay with a half-hour coffee date. So yeah, I wouldn't even deal with it. And you'd find in most cases the girl would have another attempt if I think you are the Luke. Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd imagine the other girl would have another attempt. Yeah, that's I mean, she's trying to sort of play status games from the start. If you want to give me more details about that later, I'd love to handle it when we're doing the actual Q&A. Okie dokie. So what do we got next? Oh, if you could do myself, Tess, you guys a huge favor. We're very new to this, and as you can see, we're not particularly good YouTubers. Advice for you guys. If you could, what is it? You got to subscribe. Could you please put the subscribe thing into the chat? That just pops up apparently. Subscribe. And yeah, if you could comment when the thing goes live, share it with your friends. Like, that means so much to us. You'll get more of these. You'll get more of Tess. We'll do US call times. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that happen. So you guys live would love it, but you guys watching the replay, we've been coaching for 19 years and we're not very good and we're pretty new to YouTubers. So that's awesome. So some great questions there. I'll answer them at the end. Okay, next up, we've got create sexual tension, especially in quite mundane situations. Was it Simon Slash asked, what are the top 3 things women want? That's up there. That really is up there. I teach through stories. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm not comparing myself to them, but so did Plato, Socrates, Marcus Aurelius, Nietzsche, Tony Robbins. He's quite in that category. Tolstoy, all the great minds and teachers of history, and probably many of the best coaches. So yeah, I can give you all these points, which are really good. And some of you might even write them down and sort of study them the next day. Not many, but some of you. Story. I'm not saying my stories are that good, but I've had a lot of feedback years later about my stories from clients. Some of the stories I actually forgot. So yeah, I was at a yoga studio, and this is the one where I go to do yoga. And she was just a 10, 9.5. She was, short. She was 23-year-old yoga receptionist. She was definitely half Dutch, and I'm pretty sure she was half Indian or Pakistani or something. And she was literally dating quite a well-known pro footballer at that time. Oh my God, the gecko's back, the loud gecko. I'm going to get that guy. Shut up. Sorry, guys. And yeah, all the guys in the yoga studio were just slobbering all over her. And what would happen is when I was talking to her, I would intentionally hold extended eye contact. This is really good tips. I just talk to and potentially hold 100% eye contact. There's a big counter between us. And then every now and then, not sort of enjoying what she was talking about, I just look down at her lips. Not like I'm on a date with her and I'm trying to get her into bed, but just really beautiful lips there. I wasn't saying that, but she could probably see it in my eyes. And then whenever she handed me the keys, or whenever she handed me the towel, or took money off her, or a credit card, or whatever it was, I always made a point, if it was not stupid, just sort of brush against her and maybe hold it a bit longer. Women love easy for guys who can do that, because that suggests they're pretty good in the bedroom and they've probably had attractive women before with these skills. Again, your 40s, 50s, 60s, not in the best shape, going grey. Get these skills, which is basically what we do for a living for 19 years. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So anyway, she talked to me for 10 minutes. Yeah, as I said, this is amazing stuff. Extended eye contact, looking gently downward to her lips, and whatever opportunity I get, could be plausible, just touch her hand. And yeah, this happened a few times, but then one time she was so into what she was talking about that she actually comes around this huge corner. I just wanted a bottle of water, and she goes and gets it out the fridge for me. She had to do it, I don't even know, a 5 or 8 meter walk or something to do that, when she could have just said, here, get a water out the fridge like everyone else did. And then she comes around, she touches me, and all these guys were waiting. So again, I'm not particularly good looking. I was, when this happened, and there's people getting angry that she wasn't taking their money and letting them go into class. And one time I was on TV, this is a while ago, and I wore a suit to yoga that day, and she literally ran out the studio after me, and she was 5'3". It's like, well, what the hell's going on? So, and I mean, yeah, this is the key point. There was cage fighters, there was these hot young professional guys from the city, there was professional athletes in my age, and I didn't really have much in common with her either. She was just your average, Australian girl, not not that smart, never read or traveled much. So we didn't really have any connection. It was just the actual techniques they gave you: extended eye contact, occasionally just drop down to the lips, and yeah, any chance of incidental touching. So yeah, I don't know. I was going to talk about women's tests a bit later. So it's the same girl. It's a preview. One of the things she did that may have been a woman's test, it may have been her just angry, was there was a yoga teacher, I won't say his name, who was an extraordinary yoga teacher. He's the best yoga teacher I've ever had. Did a bunch of private lessons with him. But this guy, if I say male on YouTube, are they going to cancel me and shut my account down? Or is it only if I say female? I wonder if there's any gender balance there. Oh, horrendously promiscuous dude, like world class. And she was obviously attracted to him, like every single girl who got near him. She goes, "Oh, Jordan, he's so bad with women. He's so unprofessional. It's ridiculous. He's going to cause the studio a lot of problems. I can't believe the owner lets him get away with it. It's just ridiculous." She's just bagging him, and she really liked him, and she wanted him to herself, but she knew she had no hope in hell of getting him to herself. So what a nice guy would do there would be like, "Oh, yeah, the owner should he'd take her side." So instead, what I did is I went, "Yeah, well, he's an extraordinary teacher, and he's crazy charismatic, and yeah, from what I know, he really knows what he's doing with the ladies." And then I honestly think that got her much more attracted to me. Can anyone tell me what the woman's test was there? I think I might have given it away. It was basically that she wanted me to fall into, I don't like the word frame because a lot of people I don't like use it, but she wanted me to fall into the nice guy frame of taking her side, men who use women just for their bodies. And I said, no, he's whatever. He's a yoga teacher. He's probably not in the yoga teacher game for the big bucks he makes. He probably wants to get a bunch of really easy girls, which he did. So yeah, so not, again, it's not just whatever, looking at the lips, the eyes and all that stuff. It's also the psychology behind it. You've got to hopefully that was really, really valuable to you guys. So 534. Okay, if you want to get a chance to sort of do this sort of stuff in your life, we can help you. And what we've done basically for the last, where are we? What we've done, sorry guys, recent. And what we've done for the last long time is to actually send guys on dates with our female coaches. Anyway, he screwed that up. So, oh, I've got no tests. My tech is dying. So yeah, if you want to get hot dates with me, you really want this week, yeah, you can go on a date with Tess tomorrow. You can go on a date with Tess tomorrow. And yeah, she's going to give you life-changing feedback, everything you did right, everything you did wrong, and what you need to do to improve. You might want to take the comment down, the banner down, because we're not doing that right now. So yeah, so you get to go on a date with her. We've got a whole bunch of other coaches as well. And basically what happens is this. The goal of the date and the approaching is to identify and eliminate the mistakes you're making. Life that, you know, if you didn't know you'd go on making mistakes, it probably cost you every decent girl you've had a chance with, or most of them. And relative to the average guy you're competing with, you're going to master approaching, master conversation, never run out of things to say, just with the tips and strategies and practice she gives you. And most importantly, you've got a custom dating plan, your top 3 action steps. And yeah, you'll leave and you'll know, you have so much clarity. You'll know what you're doing wrong. You know exactly what to do with the next. And there's some skepticism around this, but I mean, to beat the average American, Australian, Canadian, English, German, Dutch guy, it's just so easy. You don't need to do very much. You really don't need to do very much. And we want to give you a few things that will help you do that. So yeah, this could be you tomorrow. We usually charge $1,500 for this, but we're doing them tomorrow for just $1. If you're interested in our help, mother load of traffic and a whole bunch of call applications for from the US So yeah, when when YouTube starts to really back us, which hopefully they will soon, if I don't screw the tech up so much, yeah, this opportunity probably won't be there. Plus, it'll change your life if you do a half-assed job of implementing. So just for tomorrow, it's $1, not $14.95. I just have a quick chat to you first to make sure before I let you loose on tests. If you guys are watching the replays, we should have a link if you want to do that. And yeah, next Aussie Bootcamp, 13 to 16 November and 5 to 8 February. And that will be what your tomorrow looks like for you, or if you can't make it that time. Okie dokie. So let me get back to my points. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't flick. People hate that. They complain about movies with moving cameras. So yeah, apologies for anyone who's got that thing. I'm not too keen on leaf blowers myself. Everyone's got their little thing. Okay. Point number 3 is to be willing. Oh, questions. Were there any questions on the subject of creating sexual tension? What I'm going to do, there's some really good meaty questions, like these. Women refuse coffee dates. That's pretty straightforward, but I'm happy to delve into more of the meat of that. I mean, they're probably fishing for an expensive dinner. I haven't taken a girl on an expensive dinner in years. I'd take a girlfriend, but I'd never take a girl, I'd slept with her a whole bunch of times. So yeah, any questions about that specific subject, I would love to handle. Just give me an avalanche of comments soon, obviously. Please do a few early on, because I want to give you context on all the things I'm talking about. Okay. Every dating coach will basically say this: you've got to be willing to walk away from her. You've got to have strong boundaries. You've got to show self-respect. Excuse me. I do calls with people, and they're like, oh yeah, my last girlfriend was the most toxic girl ever. She was shocking. She did this, she did that. She did like vanity, steal, murder his dog. I've had all this stuff in my client base. You can't believe it. Put him in hospital for weeks, everything. But anyway, the guys will say, oh, yeah, I'm not going to make those mistakes again until I've learned how to set boundaries. I think, and I haven't identified any dating coaches who actually really understand the core thing. There's so much of a lag, I shouldn't bother asking questions. The core thing is, it's not about setting boundaries. It's about being able, skillfully enough, which nearly all men are terrible at. Women get intuitively when they're born. It's about being able to read her signals, so you know what's a test, what's a game, what's her being unreasonable, and what's her being genuine. Okay, some examples. Do not wait 3 to 5 dates prior to sex. For the guy who asked the question, don't respond to her demand for a first date. That's absurd. Don't keep, if a girl's flaking on you, stop messaging her back. Just ignore her. You want to be really smart, you message her back in a month when she might be a bit lonely, or whatever the guy she's sort of with has moved on a bit. Do not get offensive. Do not apologize when a girl rejects you. Again, if you can read the signals. In most cases, don't blame yourself when she starts a whole bunch of stuff. Most of the time she's crying. Yeah. Okay. Who knows? Okay. Here's, if I can tell a joke. Why do women cry so much? Why do women cry more than men? Because men are too freaking stupid to notice anything else, because we can't read anything. The only way she can get through to you, there's a problem or she needs something, is to start crying. So yeah, I mean, one of the women's tests you've got to learn, you've got to be able to identify a real cry. The girl's actually distressed, or you got to identify she's just, I'm sick of not being able to swear. She's just freaking with you. That sounds stupid. So yeah, you've got to identify which one it is. That requires you reading signals, because this girl, I mean, you could have really upset her, or you could have done something that you didn't notice or realize. She could be really upset that. And if you sort of, maintain your boundaries, like a lot of other people say, it's like you could be being a complete and utter asshole and a horrible human being to her, and potentially lose a girl you really like. So, but at the same time, it could just be a manipulation. So you've got to understand her rejection, her tantrums, her tears. Is it real or is it a test? If a date's going, like some examples with me, if a date's going nowhere sexually on, maybe I don't have the logistics. It's a first date and something happened. I tend to not, if I date a girl, this is date planning. If I date a girl, I'll never go more than, walking distance from home, or I don't like to use cars or anything, because that just makes it much harder to get it back to your place. So I usually demand they come to where I am, if I'm living in a place where there's good date opportunities, date plan opportunities. So yeah, if a date's getting a bit stale, just jump out. Great night, thanks. Or don't say great night if it wasn't. Just go, hey, it was nice to catch up with you. And then just whatever, give her a hug and go away. And then look at her eyes. Is she like, I was really enjoying this guy? Is she relieved? Oh God, I don't need to get rid of this guy. He's got rid of himself. But you got to be able to read this stuff, because I mean, so many of you, like probably most of you who aren't virgins, or even the guys who are, you would have screwed up on a good chance with, just because you let this date that was a bit stale drag on too far, and you weren't sort of proactive. I hate that corporate word. You weren't proactive about touching, more intimate places. I'm not saying there. And then leading her back to somewhere where you could have sex, because women get turned on by sexual escalation, by the tension, by the romance of it. I mean, look at all these books they read. And so yeah, I like to illustrate stuff with stories. A girl, I keep saying model, I should stop doing that. Anyway, she was a model, and I met her, and then on our what happened? First date was very, very short, because she just got off a job and whatever. I had no way known of closing the time. So first date was like 45 minutes or something, and we talked a bit, and we ended up just giving each other massages. She had a great massage, by the way, sitting on the floor of a hostel, believe it or not. I wasn't going to take her into the 17-bed dorm. And then at the end of it, I could tell she really liked me, reading signals. And then I don't know. And I must have done something. I must have given her this like really beautiful, pushed me away. She says, I'm not sleeping with you for at least a week. And I'm just like, and it wounded me a little bit, but I sort of knew at the same time it was probably a mirage. So anyway, second date, it was quite a long day. It's probably like 4 or 5 hours. We slept together, and I was very forthright about getting what I wanted on that date without crossing that line. There's the hard no line, like no, where you just whatever. No. Actually going home because I don't want to deal with this. But yeah, I had skill at the time, and I was promiscuous, and I used it to whatever. Bit sooner than should have maybe liked. But yeah. And then as soon as I sort of did the I've told you I'm traveling. I really like you. You tick you're wonderful. I just gave her all these compliments that weren't her appearance, and said, but listen, yeah, I'm just I had all these friends in that city, and says, yeah, anyway, it's so good to meet you, blah, 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 blah. And she starts crying. But I've seen that cry before. It wasn't a real cry. It was a fake cry. It was like it's like, if I cry, he'll stop escalating so skillfully and getting me all hot, because I really like him and I want him to be my boyfriend, not just a fling. Anyway, I don't need to finish the story, but I lived with this girl for a little bit of time. So much of your success with women comes down to your understanding of their psychology and their tests, which is what Tess said in a recent live. I'm talking about myself, but yeah, most men just have no clue about this. And once you've got at least B+ conversation skills, it's your understanding of female psychology and their games that's going to get you pretty much all your success. Seeing if there is any questions on that one, setting boundaries. I should do some more relationship ones. Did I have any notes about that? That's what I don't know if there's any guys in a relationship. I mean, crying in a relationship is just so common. Another one would be if she's out. That's not a good example, actually. If she's out constantly flirting with other girls in front of you, which happens and happens a lot, particularly at the start of the relationship. Because yeah, women are constantly flirting with guys who are taller, younger, more ripped, more handsome, more rich, more cool, more famous than you. But a lot of the time they've got no intention of ever being with that guy. They're just doing it they're flirting with this taller, younger, hotter guy as sort of a tool to hit you with. And then a lot of them aren't doing it maliciously. They just want to see how's he going to react to this. Is he going to get all jealous and go weird and treat me bad? But yeah, if you've got a girl who's constantly just going out doing this to you, I probably wouldn't talk about it. I'd just go, okay, well, I'm going to go talk to people. And I'd talk to some really hot girls, and I think she'd get the message pretty quickly. So yeah, you've just got to set boundaries. You've got to set boundaries. You've got to set boundaries. Another example of that is I was having difficulty with a girl I lived with. She demands that she got home late from a party because we were sort of close to finish and I was living with her, and she decides she wants sex. I don't even know, 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. or something. Anyway, the sex went on quite a time because we hadn't had sex for a little bit because of the tension. And then anyway, she sleeps through. She had to get up and go to work. I don't know how to drive on the other side of the road. She demanded that I get out of bed on 2 hours sleep and drive in the wrong side of the road in a country I'd never driven in before, or maybe driven in and scared the shit out of my Belgian friend, and take her. And then she just starts attacking this ex-boyfriend would do that. This ex-boyfriend, you're so selfish. You're so selfish. You're so selfish. And I said, I told you when we were having sex that you had to get up early in the morning. And then she just attacks me, and then she just throws a tantrum. Then when she came back, the next time I saw her, she was a complete angel. So yeah, you've just got to set boundaries. But in order to set boundaries, you've got to be able to read signals. Okie dokie. Any questions on setting boundaries? There's got to be a bunch of setting boundaries questions, if anyone's got some. Because yeah, it's a huge successful guys, and it's an enormous problem with older guys dating younger women because they're always going to be throwing tests galore at you. Is this guy really as confident as he seems, or is he just putting it on? Okay. So yeah, next up, we have elite level conversation skills. Elite level conversation skills. This is the number one thing by far. Like nothing's even close if you're trying to get from, I'd like to do better with women to doing better with women. There's a lot of other stuff, but this is the most important. Beginner, it's a superpower. As I've said before, the hottest girls just drown in attention from tall, ripped, never ending. And Instagram's just made that 20 times worse. So what really cuts through all the attention they get is when a guy can really truly connect with them, and treat them like a human being. Because most hot girls, they just go through life just constantly being treated as an object, not a human being, and it really gets to them. So yeah, I was doing on my boot camp. I do as well as approach girls in the actual real world. I do demonstrations on different female coaches that are really, really lifelike, just like the drills and exercises we do on boot camps. And yet twice, I'll tell you who they are. I had Nevena and Jackie cry in front of, 12, 15 students or 18, simply because I asked them such great questions about their lives. Jackie was talking about her sort of family situation and things she wasn't happy about there and what she wanted from her family. And Nevena was talking about how much she missed her hometown in Croatia, and the lifestyle in Sydney. So yeah, and I've had clients say back to me, yeah, man, I was on a date with this girl and the same thing happened to me. She just started crying. So I did such a good job of asking her questions. And yeah, if you can do that, man, I mean, you're probably getting sex that night. If you don't freak her out by connecting with her so well that she starts to get scared and run away, which could happen too. Yeah, I mean, so many times with, like, you know, short Asian guys, short, much older guys. I've seen them on boot camps, and they got this hot girl just transfixed by them, just simply what they're doing. My one of my approach coaches, who's not one of the most attractive men, who had horrendous health problems, sort of, you know, pretty weak jawline and 5'5", but very confident guy, particularly after we finished with him. We were at a popular sauna, and there was 2 or 3. Sauna was mobbed, and there was like 1 or 2 hot girl. There's one hot girl in there, basically. There might be another okay one, and he's just pitching this girl, and she's, I don't know, 3 inches taller than him, and she's got like the Ken doll boyfriend sitting on the sauna, and he's just he touched her very skillfully on the shoulder. Oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And the tall, handsome, like 12 abs, perfect pecs, perfect shoulders, perfect arms, perfect jawline Ken doll boyfriend, he's freaking out. Short, not that attractive guy, and he keeps trying to grab her shoulder or grab her arm and pull her in, and she just swats him away like a blowfly. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, it's just so funny to see this. He was just asking great question after. She was just loving him. Yeah, so it's so much of it's so important. There's a really good example in this anecdote. I was in an organic cafe that had a communal table, and one of the girls, this is a great tip. One of the best places to meet super attractive women is like super healthy organic restaurants. Continue being ridiculously hot, you know, much beyond their 20s, even early 20s, they're going to have to eat decent food. So yeah, I've got my way with some of those beautiful girls, certainly in Western countries, just by talking about, oh yeah, so important to activate your almonds and you know, yeah, sauerkraut, yeah, it's essential for gut health, and just crapping on about this sort of stuff. And yeah, women absolutely love it. They absolutely love it. So yeah, make sure that you're doing that. Tech guy, if it's still possible to record my screen in StreamYard, could you do that, please? I'm having a lot of trouble for some crazy reason filming on my computer, which is annoying me. For you guys, we get dramatically more views in the replay, which is sad because I love answering guys' questions. So I like to record them here. So yeah, I bet this done some shoot, and she was on a billboard. Apparently, I didn't see it. Apparently, she was on TV. She was the head model for a big campaign in Australia, and everyone was talking about what it was like to do this and what it was like to do that, and what's it like seeing yourself, you know, over the freeway or something. I can't remember the exact story, something close to that. And she's like, oh yeah, it was good. She's getting really bored with all the attention and conversation and thing, even though this was a big high point of her career. You could tell she was absurdly hot. I don't know, have to be top 10 girls I saw that year, and I live in Bondi Beach, could be top 5, which probably arguably is the best looking girls in Australia. So I wanted to talk to her, but I'm here. There's probably one person there, this is a big communal table, one person there, one person there, and I lean over and I go, oh, so when you're not on billboards and on do with your life? And she's like, oh, okay. She goes, acting. I said, oh, cool. I'm no actor, but I did 6 weeks at New York Film Academy. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life, psychologically, and it was so much fun. She said, oh, cool. She said, oh, well, what was that like? And then I pulled out what I call a big mother effer open-ended question. That's a write it downer. Big mother fucker open-ended question. I said, oh, cool. So yeah, in your acting career, modeling, but your dream was to be an actress. So yeah, what's been the best role you've ever had? And she goes, I was cast as a sex slave. Some guy kidnapped me and used me for sex. And I fell in love with him, and we fell in love. We fell madly in love. And she's telling me about this part and the script and making it and how she got into character. She's blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there nodding, talking about this. And then people started moving away from us because it was like, these two need to be left alone. And she goes on and on and on and on and on. So it's just, yeah, she probably wasn't half my age. This happened a while ago, but yeah, way older than me, way younger than me, 100 times hotter than I should ever get, particularly in a country like Australia that doesn't sort of have Eastern European level hot women. But yeah, she was just so happy to be. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially what we do in Tess Natalia. I mean, the first goal with our clients is to make you a master conversationalist, a master at starting conversations, and a lethal weapon on a date. Because if you're a bit older than you want, or a bit shorter than you want, or whatever your metric is, you're just going to destroy all the other men. You're just going to completely destroy all the other men. Oh, Jesus Christ, the internet. I'm sorry, guys. Tech guy, can you just tell me, is it dropped out constantly, or how? Oh, shit, yeah. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'll just have to persist as best I can.
It's good.
Sorry?
It's good.
It's crappier than you.
Just dropping for a while, but it's good.
How long has it been dropped for?
Just a few seconds, like 1 to 2 seconds, it drops.
Okay. Anyway, if anyone's got any questions, particularly on my last point, I'd love to do that. Or you're just going to give me a ton at the end. Okay. The next point is passing women's test manipulations. That's the number one by far. Simon's asked a really great question. Try a Wi-Fi reset. Oh, that could be risky. Oh, thanks, Luke and Magnus. Appreciate that. I'm just going to reset my Wi-Fi. It's just the place I'm staying. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to drop out for a second. I'm really sorry, guys. Am I back?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I apologize profusely for this. Starlink's not. Okie dokie. Has the video been clear? Anyway, we'll get back onto it. So any questions you guys have got? Thanks, Magnus. Thanks, Luke. Especially on these points. I think that's the most value I can add to you guys, giving you the concepts and some examples, and then asking your questions. As a probably is coaching guys on boot camps and doing my boot camps. So the advice I'm giving is probably for a guy who's dramatically higher than the standard YouTube audience. So I can, oh God, I can see my internet here. This is absolutely dreadful, horrible. So the advice I'm giving is, sorry. So the advice I'm giving might not always be suitable for your questions. That would really make a huge difference. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Tech guy, can you just tell me if I'm dropping out?
It just drops 1 to 2 seconds, so you can continue because the video is good in clarity. Just the
Okay.
1 to 2 seconds.
I don't think this is an issue. Can you drop my quality to 480, please? Fantastic. Okay. Okay. So let's go. Yeah. Passing women's tests and manipulation. Yeah. Rejections, tantrums, arguments, flirting with hotter guys. A lot of just being really, really moody, attacking you because whatever. You know, I've had a girl say your penis isn't big enough. One who was crazy about me. That was one of the tests. I've been helping guys with this for 19 years now. Like 19 years. That's a long, long, long time. And yeah, most of what I'm teaching you now, yeah, I'm pretty bored of because I've been doing it so long. But I do it because I just absolutely love helping people. It's like the second best thing in the world to me after. But yeah, women's tests is just endlessly fascinating because, you know, a hot 21-year-old girl will test dramatically differently to a hot 28-year-old girl. And, you know, once girls are over their beauty peak, they're doing completely different tests. And young hot girls, they're testing for the alpha male. Once they get a bit older and they want Mr. Security, they're testing for the guy with lots of cash who is a bit clueless so that he won't leave her for someone else. So yeah, just to give you some background in this. Great question, Simon. I'll handle that after that. It all gets back to Charles Darwin again. Men evolved with violence. You know, we survived because our ancestors were bigger, stronger, fitter, could fight better. There's also the aspect of forming coalitions with other high value men or other very strong men to dominate and control other people. That's how we evolved. So much of our survival comes down to muscles and size. Whereas women, it's completely different. Their survival prior to, you know, one of the good things about feminism, cut down on domestic violence and massive assaults on women. One of the great things about feminism, there's been one or two, but not everything. Prior to feminism, and still in many countries of the world, like I believe I've actually, there's 50,000 women in Russia every year murdered by their husband. Murdered, not you know, black eye, broken nose, couple of bruised ribs. Murdered. How the hell do you beat a woman to? I don't know how you do that. She murders your kid or something. Even then, I don't think I could do it. I don't know how you do it. How do you murder a woman? But with your bare hands. So yeah, so women have had to get close to us creatures who are much bigger, much stronger, much more violent, dramatically higher testosterone. And they've got to be able to get close enough to us to get our protection, to get our love, to get our semen, to get our faithfulness when they raise a kid, which makes them essentially disabled, the last bit of it, certainly last trimester. And then once they have the kid, they're totally helpless. They're, you know, anyone can come and cause them more pain than they can ever dream of by killing their kid or kill them. Or, I mean, what happens in every animal species is, you know, when a woman who's had a kid's attacked by, you know, another chimpanzee or another walrus or another deer with antlers or another Papua New Guinean for that matter, the first thing I do is kill the kids and take the woman. In Papua New Guinea, yeah, a lot of women, they've had their third husband because their third husband killed their second husband and their second husband killed their first husband. This is really helpful, giving you guys background and understanding. So yeah, so women have evolved to be sneaky and manipulative and conniving and to read signals and to know what's going on in social situations. Partially to be able to raise a young child and understand when it wants food or when it needs to, whatever, get nappy changed. Not they changed nappies 10,000 years ago or anything like that. So women have this incredible social intuition, social abilities that most men I can't get close to. If you look at whatever success with women I've had, I mean, there's a few aspects. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I teach that I do well, and there's some things I teach that I do really well. But yeah, being able to read signals and pass women's tests was probably one of the highest, because it just the girls that's got me access to that I'd have never ever got near without them is just off the charts. And yeah, women's tests is amongst my sort of students who've been married before and had difficult relationships, or amongst my students, who've got cash and, attracting women isn't their number one problem. Attracting the women they want. Amongst them, the women's test is the most popular stuff we teach. The guys just eat it up like crazy. It's so intellectually fascinating as well. Several students, one of whom now has, I don't even know, a $10 million marketing agency, maybe more. He just left his job and barely making any money when he did Social Coach. He said we were a huge part of his flying past $1 million into the millions, just his networking and getting clients, and meeting people at conferences that could really help him do a better job for his clients. So yeah, the thing I'm constantly told is it's the women's test content that a lot of guys have said, particularly those in marketing, dude, you should just give up this touch, eye contact, body language boot camp thing. Just become a specialist at teaching women's games. Because yeah, it's the number one thing. If you want to get the best girls, you want to have a good relationship with girls, you want to get those girls into bed. If you want to have a happy long-term relationship, it's the number one thing. It's the number one thing. And this is largely how the best women judge men. How does he pass my tests and manipulations? Because that shows her that you've been pre-selected by extremely attractive women, and women love pre-selection because it saves time. Sorry if I go on about Darwin a lot, but you got to understand Darwin, I think, to understand women. Yeah, the girl who ended up being the love of my life, she was from a very religious Catholic background. Took me 3 dates there. And yeah, the second date was her taking me out to dinner with her family, some of whom spoke English, some of whom didn't. She was Spanish. She had German passport as well, and Spanish speaking. And yeah, she just sits on the opposite end of the table and dumps me there. And I don't know what the dinner was, 90 minutes, 2 hours. I've just got to survive in that situation. And I could tell she was looking at me all night. I mean, why didn't you sit next to me? Who would expect a girl in that situation would sit next to you? I mean, you'd think that'd be the obvious thing. But she didn't. She sits on the opposite end, and I could tell she was looking at me a lot of the time. And yeah, I did a pretty good job. I connected with someone. And yeah, after the family dinner, she was really happy, like really happy. I didn't know quite why. And then I even connected with the family dog. The dog loved me. Can't remember what the dog's name is, I think. And yeah, anyway, with this girl who had only slept with 3 guys prior to me, came from an extremely hardcore Catholic family. I could go into her house, I could go into her bedroom, but if I ever was in her bedroom and didn't have a foot on the floor, like that would be the end of our relationship. That was taken very, very seriously. So yeah, hopefully you guys can see the value of this, particularly the guys who've had a bit of success already. Yeah, the ability to get past this hurdle the girl sets you is like the number one factor in your success. It really is the number one factor in your success. So on that genre, that's probably similar to genre. Another girl, again, I tend to remember the stories from the greatest women of my life. There's been plenty others, but But yeah, I met a girl who was the most nasty, vicious, superficially horrible girl ever. She's Russian, very rich Russian girl. She goes, yes, even in Russia, I am considered a bitch. So yeah, and we met playing volleyball. That's a great story too. And we had we didn't have a first date. We were staying at the same place. Anyway, she ended up having dinner at my table, and then we were up for the next 6-8 hours, whatever, moving forward, sexually, I guess, romantically. So anyway, the last 2 or 3 hours was me sitting on, what do they call it, a cabana? I don't even know. Just this thing where you had something at the back, you had cushions, and she was just sitting there and my arms were around her. And we're sitting talking the whole time. She just blew me away how smart and philosophical and psychologically intelligent she was. She was 23 at the time. I keep saying the best body I've ever seen, but if she had better boobs, she'd beat the the one I was talking about first. It was a phenomenal body. Amazing young girl, but she was so vicious to men. 3 guys came up to her one day when she was in a white bikini and go, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I can't remember. You know, do you like vodka? What do you think of Putin? And she just, and one time she just got sick of it. She goes, "I wish to read my book now. You have a nice day." And she just shut the guy down while he's sitting beside her, but his body language was all nervous. And these were hot guys. And again, this is when I was traveling. I was like, you know, the fat, skinny, double chin guy. I meant to say that with the first girl I talked about. Yeah, when I took photos, then I had to look down like that to cover the 3 rolls of fat and this horrible big fat stomach I had. But yeah, girls don't care if you act like a man and you pass their tests. They really don't care. I said something to the 6'1" model, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I'd prefer it, but yeah, it really wasn't a big deal to her." Whereas most men are just maniacally, "Oh, I've got to go to the gym, I've got to have this, I've got to have that, I've got to have that." Whereas if you look at this, I saw a Humphrey Bogart movie a few nights ago. Wasn't that good actually, but he was like the #1 sex symbol in the world at that time. I mean, he's not an attractive guy at all. And what's his name? The iconic one from the Capra movies. I mean, he's not an attractive guy at all, but all these sex symbols from a long time ago, they weren't particularly attractive men. They certainly weren't ripped, muscly men. Look at most of the famous rock stars that had been near a gym in their life. But they had this other stuff women want. So women's tests in a relationship, there's so many. If you guys have any stuff about women's tests, women's games you'd like to ask, because that's somewhere we can add a ton of value. There's so much sort of structure to it that I'll do on probably a full YouTube live as well. I've got like dozens of stories I tell on my events. Just trying to think of a good one for now. Simon, what would you do if a woman tells you she's not monogamous? Any advice? That could well be a woman's test. Thank you, Simon. That could well be a woman's test. I would just say something along the lines of, I'd probably just let it go, to be honest. It could. I had this with a 22-year-old hippie girl who told me about her boyfriend, and then she made a very good point of like, we're not monogamous. So it could just be giving you a signal. This is freaky. One time in San Francisco, I was out, and we cold approached some girls, and their boyfriends ended up coming back, and one of them was a stripper, which is not my cup of tea at all. You don't know. Basically, the girl says, "Oh, we've got an open relationship," and she just throws herself at me. I don't even know why, and she starts like, this isn't a YouTube-friendly story, but yeah, I was just too weirded out to sort of meet the guy and then take his girl home and sleep with her because he wasn't particularly happy. Not because I was scared, just because it just wasn't the sort of thing I do. So, but yeah, so often women will throw themselves at a guy and it's just a woman's test. My common test stories, let me think. Okay, I can't remember which ones I've told on YouTube before. One of the most popular trainers ever, she really, really, really liked this guy. And he just, it just took forever to ask her out. They played in the same mixed netball team. And yeah, anyway, it was the finals, and they got to finals, and it was the last game, and she sort of managed to sit beside him and touch him a lot and just throw every hint at him. But he was tall, handsome, and really, really dumb. And then eventually, at the end of it, and she'd been thinking about this guy for 6 months. She was crazy about him. He ticked every box that she could possibly have. Super smart, super successful, really masculine, really good human being by the sound of it, like a proper genius. But then, apart from with women, but at the end of the game, he said something like, "Oh, they're having dinner or drinks after the game." He goes, "Oh, yeah, it's been really nice hanging out with you and playing with you, Julia. We should maybe catch up for dinner or something sometime." And she's like, "Oh, you know, yeah, I'd like that, but I just wouldn't want to ruin the vibe on the mixed netball team." And he's like, "What? No, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you you make a good point there." And it was just crazy. It was just crazy because and she just completely lost all attraction to this guy in one go. He said, "Oh yeah, you could ruin the vibe on the mixed netball team." So that line, that was purely a test of like, "Yeah, I'll go out with you. I've been dreaming about it for 6 months." But then you've just displayed with 5 words or something that you're completely clueless with women and you're hopeless and you're never going to be relationship worthy, and I'm just not starting again trying to train a man. So yeah, this sort of stuff happens all the time. Tests when you first meet a girl. So many times on boot camps. Because when I'm doing boot camps, I'm leading all these students. I tend to start the night by approaching some of the hottest girls I can find and trying to get my clients in. So women very quickly pick up who are the leaders in any social situation, and that's often me, even though whatever, I'm older and skinnier and nowhere near as attractive as many of the guys in the bar, many of the guys I'm coaching. Again, women see status hierarchies, men see tits and ass and pretty faces. So, but you can create a status hierarchy in a little cafe or at a yoga studio or wherever you want. You don't need to actually be the CEO of a company to be head of a status hierarchy. So yeah, in a bar when I'm doing a boot camp, if I've talked to quite attractive girls already and other girls have seen it go well, yeah, I'm like very close to the top of the tree, not the cute barman and the bouncers and the owner, but in terms of the punters. So yeah, there's been quite a few times that girls are looking over at me. Some of them quite come talk to me. They've got, "Hey, how you doing? I'm James. What's your name?" And they're like, "You're too old for me," or just some line. And there's a couple of ways I handle it. Usually I just sort of stand like a statue for a while, go, and just keep looking at her. And then nearly every girl will cave in and shake my hand. A lot of them, and that's a woman's test. Hopefully you guys can see that. By holding me out for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, she knows, if she's attractive, that the average Australian guy, the average American guy, the average Canadian guy, most of Western Europe now, maybe not the Italian and the French and the Spanish, but most guys just go, "Oh, okay, I'm assaulting this woman by trying to talk to her," which is the way we're programmed now. So I just stood there like a statue, just looking at her, not taking my eyes off her. And she's like, and eventually she shakes my hand. And then I'm thinking of one particular story now. And yeah, she just opens up like a Christmas tree when I sort of did that 5 minutes. Or sorry, 5 minutes. Don't do 5 minutes. Again, you got to be quite good at reading signals to get away with this. But yeah, women are just throwing constant tests at you. Before we move on, I'll probably do a really comprehensive one of this again. I was lucky to coach a very successful business guy. He's now a billionaire. He's an Australian, believe it or not. There's not many billionaires in Australia, particularly his age. He was referred to me by a client I made, one of the best networkers in Sydney, after doing a boot camp. He's referred me to him, which is a really nice thank you. So anyway, the guy was great. He's very confident. Everything, a lot of his training came around women's psychology and women's tests, particularly when he was a very high value guy already. And he was a very attractive guy and very masculine guy already, which is very unusual for super successful people, but he was. So yeah, he did some public speaking gigs. and he met girls in a whole bunch of areas, and just the flaking was just out of this world. He'd you know, I don't know how many staff he had at this point, 100, 200, I'm making that number up, but a lot. Probably way more than that because of his business he was in. But yeah, he'd set up a date and then she wouldn't show, and it was constant. And the hotter the girl, the more likely it was she wouldn't show. And he's like, he's just gone crazy. He's just gone absolutely crazy. It's like, what don't they understand? My time is worth so much money. I've got all these people depending on. He's gone this rant about what BITCH's women are. But it wasn't that at all. I know, based on experience, if I get a date with a girl who's legit model for some agency, I basically plan she's going to flake on me. It's like the chance of her showing up is, I don't know, 30% or something, maybe 40. And, you know, whatever it is, I've got, like, in my date planning stuff, I've got systems and processes to make sure you don't get stood up and you know ahead of time, which I won't go into when I'm talking about women's tests. But yeah, I just assume she's not going to show up. I know it's going to happen. So anyway, you know, I meet a model somewhere. I get this text the next day. Oh, how you doing? The job's come up. You know, I'm not feeling well. I'm like, and then, you know, I just ignore it at the end of the day. I go, oh, no problem. Pretty busy tonight anyway. And just leave it there. Now, what do you think I do? I wait maybe a week, depending on what's going on or how much I like her, maybe 3 or 4 days. And I'll just text her back. And yeah, and Val, my Russian female trainer, who's very, very hard on women too, she's talked about how she just never responds to guys' texts and just constantly stands them up because she wants to see the alpha male who actually gets this, which is not most guys. So yeah, hopefully these stories are of real value to you guys. They're probably pretty advanced for a YouTube audience. This is more the sort of stuff I teach guys after they've done the boot camp and they're getting results. If you guys just want to get out and, you know, talk to some girls and get some dates. But yeah, I think this is really, really valuable. Okie dokie. Questions. You're going to start. It's time to throw questions at me, guys, I think. Oh, it's been going way longer than I thought. Oh, it hasn't been. Yeah, it's been going way longer than I thought. Sorry about that. Okay. What you do? Okay, Stavros, if I just know how to put... No, I can't put it into the chat. I've got to go to StreamYard to put it into the chat. Why do girls ask too much when they're dating a guy? What happened to a simple date, no matter what learning difficulties you have or not? That's a very complicated question. I'll do my best with it. Basically, I mean, I probably have to start ranting about feminism. Women have been brainwashed into expecting so much from life. They can have the career, they can have the education, they can travel Europe and maybe a bit of South America. They can be some corporate success and they can have this body like they're a swimsuit model. They can give blowjobs like they're a porn star. They can have a bit of time to themselves. They can have time to do some yoga and Pilates and some spiritual growth. They've been brainwashed into thinking they can have all of this. And then what's the TV show, Sex and the City? They can get Mr. Big and have him all to themselves. That's the dream they all have. They can get this incredibly high value guy that would probably slept with them when they're 23, but maybe not 33. Not just they can get him, but they can keep him and he's going to be monogamous for them and he's going to be a provider and a loving husband and father. They've just been fed all this complete bullshit, just complete bullshit, where most of them, particularly if they're a bit attached to sort of social media and TV, more in my generation, they just got no idea about life and they're young and hot and blah, 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 blah. So they've just got this red carpet in front of them for a long period of time. So yeah, some of the stuff that enters women's heads these days. I mean, I occasionally watch some of the influencers and crapping on about how I'll never let a guy take advantage of me again. And I'm just being used and men are mean and men are vicious and I'm going to have my boundaries and all this sort of stuff. But what's really happening? It's like they've got no idea. They don't understand. Yeah, he'll sleep with you at 23, but he's got no chance. You no hope in hell of sleeping with him at 33, or very little, unless he's very desperate. And yeah, he's not going to be in a relationship with you. I'm not going to relationship for a month, let alone have your kids. But they don't understand that because they think what I can get sexually is what I can get in a relationship. So yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, men have been fed a whole bunch of bullshit too. I always usually go on about if you build it, she'll come. But women have been fed so much bullshit that some of them, particularly the sort of, dare I say, rednecky bogan ones who just sort of are plugged into the social media and I suppose the brainwashing that we all are subjected to, particularly in the Western countries, they've just got this ridiculous expectations about what they're entitled to and the way men should treat them and all this sort of thing. You know, I should be able to, you know, enjoy my 20s and sleep with a bunch of guys, but then there should be some wonderful guy who's got a great job and a great business, who's tall, handsome, looks good in a suit, has manners at dinner, who my mum and dad love, who's just going to sweep me off my feet when I'm 33, when I've been through 30 guys or 40 guys or 50 guys or more, maybe a lot more in some cases, and he should appreciate me for who I was and my adventurous self. And I'm just like, what drugs are you on, honey? What drugs are you on? I'm telling you. And you get a lot of women like that. And there's equal, I mean, there's sort of bag YouTube guys, but you guys think you're just going to work hard, get a job, get the sports car, get the muscles, you know, get a cool place, a nice suburb, and you think, oh yeah, women are just going to come after me. I'm going to get the sweetest, most wonderful woman just by being successful. I thought that was 31, 32. I can tell you I was completely wrong. And the guys who followed that path had some of the most toxic women imaginable and lost a lot of money. I mean, not my friends, but I mean, there's been guys that have taken their own life just because of the toxic BITCH they got. So yeah, that's one of the big issues. Just they're not... they've just been fed so much nonsense, really. Okay, we might move on. Okay, any good questions? Okay, we might go on to the next point. Leadership of men. Leadership of men. If that could go on the... Oh, thanks, Magnus. The internet's been great since the reset. That's a huge favor. Thanks for your advice, man. I was a bit scared, but it was definitely the right thing to do. Okay. For the Americans watching, this might not be that familiar for you. Oh, okay. Anyway, if you want to learn women's tests, if you want to learn anything to do with dating, if you want to get great at conversation, if you want to get good at touch, eye contact, body language, if you want to know the mistakes you're making, you can get a chance to go on a date with Tess. I think because we've got slightly smaller crowd tonight, there's just been one taken. So there should definitely be some spots left. Yeah, so all you do is you click the link that's pinned at the top of the chat. For guys watching in the replay, it'll be in the comments and in the description. My wealthy friends are telling me, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so yeah, and yeah, I promise you, if you do a half-assed job of implementing, you know, 2 or 3 of the things she gives you, it will change your life. I promise you, I swear. And even if you don't do much job of implementing, the next girl that falls into your lap, you'll do a much, much, much better job. And some of the implementation is not really that hard. It's just ask this question, not those questions, or do this. So we've done women's tests. So the next point we've got is leadership of men, leadership of people. Okay. Why? When you hop on one of those tour buses and travel around Europe, or sometimes travel around the States or travel around Australia, where there's, you know, 50 people, I don't know, age between, say, it's a bit young question for my audience, between 18 and 40 or something. And there's probably similar buses that do sort of 30 to 50. And basically everyone there is with a goal of, I'm going to get laid. And many people go there more keen to get laid than to actually see the beauty of Europe, including women. Many girls go on these things to sleep with some guy away from home. And yeah, it's basically just a meat market, these trips. I've been on a few. That's how I actually got some traction with women. It took me like a 14-day tour to actually meet a girl and work my moves so I could sleep with her, where I was beside her, you know, 12 hours a day. That was the only way I could have enough runway to actually kiss her and make something sexual. I was so bad. Man, you've got this tour bus, and let's say hypothetically on this tour bus, you have a tall, handsome private equity guy. You have a really tall, handsome surgeon. You have a guy who's got his own business that's worth $100 million. I'm not sure what they'd be on this tour bus for, but maybe they are. On some of the older ones, there probably would be. I met some very rich people, very successful people on these tour buses who don't really have time to discover travel themselves. They just do some package thing. And yeah, so hedge fund, surgeon, $100 million business owner. Who do all the girls on that bus want to sleep with? Who can tell me? I wish there wasn't lags. Come on, YouTube, fix up the lags. You don't get this when you're doing webinars. They get back to you pretty quickly. Okay, well, I'm not going to waste all your time. The bus driver from Parramatta. Or if I was in America, my American accent is not what it used to be. The bus driver. I can't do the American accent off the cuff. Yeah, it's like, it's crazy. Again, this is one of the other rated downers. Men see boobs and pretty faces and thick hair and long legs and symmetrical skin, symmetrical features and beautiful, clean skin. And they think, oh, healthy, beautiful kids have got a high chance of recreating themselves. Women just look at a place and go, so let's have a look at this status hierarchy. Who do I want to sleep with? Him. And yeah, on a bus, that's a bus driver. It just blew my mind when I was sort of trying to discover and understand women myself. Thank you, Charles Darwin. Thank you for the work you did to help me understand women. I can't, and what I've taken from your work to help thousands of guys, just in person, let alone online. So yeah, you have to understand this about women. They look at status hierarchies. If you're tall, chances are you'll be a bit higher up on the hierarchy. If you're rich, you probably are up on the hierarchy. But even being rich, evolutionarily, she wants to know that if your riches are stripped from you, which we couldn't have many riches for most of history because we can only do what we carry, then she wants to know that you'll get them back quickly. So women are far more interested in the ability to ascend status hierarchies than they are in how much money you've got. Yeah, Dr. David Buss, Dr. Jordan Peterson talked about it extensively. It's a great podcast if you want to look it up. So it's really about female psychology. And okay, so how many women have got a job? It's a shame there's not some women here to back me up. How many women have got a job and they're, I don't know, working at the cinema? This is an old school example. And some pimply-faced, skinny teenager they weren't really interested in ever because they want to date some older guy. He gets promoted from, doing the popcorn at the cinema to doing, to being the manager or being the assistant manager or being the night manager at the cinema. She suddenly wants to bang him. Why didn't you want to bang him this last 18 months? You've been working right beside him. Because he suddenly got some status in that environment. I use myself. It's because I know the stories well. I need to make stuff up. No girl wanted to go near me my entire life up until I was 24. Zero, zilch, nothing. No girl ever looked at me sexually. Sometimes I share pictures of me. Not attractive, completely clueless, bullied at home, bullied at school, not the slightest bit of attraction. I get a job, and I realized in the job I had, you need to wear quite good suits to succeed. So I spent all the money I had on a really nice suit. And okay, shirt. So I go into this job, and because I did pretty well, they gave me an office straight away, along with all the other advisors, because I was one of the sort of junior analysts, trainee analyst. I was basically just a shit kicker for one of the advisors who did a bunch of research. And yeah, she walks in, and this was like, there might have been one or two girls at my school, high school, that were as hot as this girl. And as soon as she goes in, she starts hitting on me. I'm like, what the fucking hell's going on here? And then, and they because a partner left and he didn't want attractive women around, and he left the partnership. One of them said, yeah, we're going to fill this place with hot girls. So there was an agency that just recruited really hot, close to model girls to be receptionists and secretaries and that sort of thing. So they get two girls from this agency and the receptionist. And then she decides she wants me. I'm just like, I've been invisible to women my entire freaking life. Now in 2 days, I've got the two hottest girls who've ever even looked at me for more than 4 seconds, who weren't my sister or a teacher. I've had them appear to want me. And then my boss, who loved me for various reasons, he saw this. He said, "Oh yeah, James has got an outstanding career." I won't say the name of the firm, but there's three names. And yeah, I ended up going out to lunch with this girl a bunch of times, and she basically threw herself at me, and I had no clue, nothing. And I'm like, I could have easily slept with her, but I just didn't know enough, and I was too scared because I was a virgin. It's like, why would a guy who's never ever had the slightest interest from women, not a skerrick of interest in women for 24 years, suddenly have two really hot girls throw themselves at him? How could that be? So hopefully this story is really hammering home. You've just got to, you don't need to be tall, rich, and handsome. You just need to move up status hierarchies or look like you are the top of a status hierarchy, which can be something as simple as making friends with a personal trainer. You don't need to be the muscliest guy in the gym. You just need to be friends with the super confident, hunky personal trainer with great social skills who all the clients are going to bang. So yeah, leadership of man is so important. I really got into a bit of a rant with the screw the boss example. Oh, thank you. It looks like we've got Stuart from the Gold Coast, and there was someone earlier as well. So thanks for sticking with us with the bad tech. If any Americans have tuned on now, I've actually kept some much later times for you guys. I should have said that at the start. Okie dokie. For those watching the replay, you'll see the link down below. Okay. Woody Allen. He was at, I think, the Cannes Film Festival. And what's her name? Naomi Watts was with him. Now, I'm really good at reading women's signals. That sounds conceited, but I should be, given my sales, public speaking, and 19 years of dating coach. You shouldn't be working with me if I'm not. Naomi Watts, so I don't know how old she was then, 29 or something. She did a film with Woody Allen, and she was at Cannes. And, he didn't walk the fastest, whatever he was then, 83 or something. And she's walking down the aisle, arm in arm with him. Now, if anyone doesn't understand Woody Allen, he is the greatest screenwriter who will ever be. He's written more incredible parts for women than maybe every American director put together. I don't know if I'm exaggerating massively. I mean, whatever you think of him or like his movies, he's a genius on a scale. Even the people who hate him say he's a genius. Anyway, what is he? 5'5", this whiny, annoying voice, worse posture than me, those silly glasses. And Naomi Watts, who most guys would love to bang, she's walking arm in arm with him down the center stage at Cannes. She was more turned on than if it was 30-year-old Brad Pitt straight out of Fight Club or whatever his Roman warrior movie was. She was gaga. She was absolutely gaga. Why? Because she was with, by far and away, the highest value man in that room, which is 83, can barely walk. His eye doesn't work. His hearing's gone. But in terms of status hierarchies at the Cannes Film Festival, I don't know anyone bigger. There might be. If the film guys here, they might contradict me on this. So yeah, you've just got to figure out ways to work your way up status hierarchies. So yeah, and so much of this can be done just by talking to everyone, being friends with everyone. I mean, I've done this sort of thing in cafes, yoga studios, gyms. Not like I bothered with the gym girls; they're not really my type. I much prefer the yoga girls. I mean, a lot of my success early on with women, because I mean, was it 3 or 4 of the first 5 girls I slept with were actually on tour buses where I had my 14 days or my 28 days to actually work my moves and get the girl into bed. It might have been 3 of the first 5. That's how bad I was with women. You can't even imagine. My female coaches and girlfriends have no idea. But I figured out, because I could read signals, I figured out this. I think this is really, really valuable to you. It's like Rockefeller says, David Rockefeller, J.D. Rockefeller, probably the most famous, powerful businessman of all time. He used to get stuck into Adam Smith, who's considered the greatest economist of all time. He came up with the invisible hand and market economics and all that. He used to say, Adam Smith, the father of modern day economics, from what I can remember, is a joke. He's got no idea what he's talking about. Success in business isn't about competition, it's about cooperation. It's not competition, it's cooperation. So what he did was, when he had competitors, he either tried to work with them. When he was more established, he just destroyed them. But he either tried to work with them, or he destroyed them, or he bought them. So yeah, he was never trying to come up with a better product or a better this or a better that or a better railway service or a better oil refinery. He's like, okay, I'm just going to destroy you. You're gonna come and do close to what I ask, or I'm going to destroy you. So yeah, JD Rockefeller knew one of the most important things when it comes to women. Don't compete with other high-value men. Only idiots do that. Form coalitions with them, just like the chimpanzees running around raping and pillaging and killing the kids and taking the hottest girls. That was probably not a YouTube-friendly example. This is a nature documentary travel we're doing here. I'm just talking about the chimpanzees in Tanzania. So yeah, scrub that from the dating channel. But yeah, you make alliances with high-value men. And like, whatever, if I walk into a bar or a party or something, or a conference, I mean, I'll dress a lot better than the average guy, and I know how to present myself. I mean, in Australia and parts of America, learning how you present yourself can just transform you. I mean, we sort of coach style and transform guys' wardrobes before we even get too stuck into conversation, because most guys just can't do it. So yeah, I get a bit of attention, but not that much. But yeah, I do it through social skills. I'll just go up and meet the highest value guys in the room. So the other girls start looking at me and they'll say, oh, I'm part of the cool people or the desirable people. And again, women don't go to the hottest guy. They go to the highest value group, as I've explained a few times. So yeah, guys, your questions are somewhat sparse tonight. But at least we got a couple of bookings. So yeah, start firing away your questions, guys. I'd really love that. And the last one, I'll give you a quick how-tos on that. I'm trying to think this place of, yeah, like a local yoga studio where I lived. I did really well there. Fortunately, it's shut down now. It was really, really good. And when I went there, I just basically made friends with everyone. I made friends with the teachers. There was a teacher who was amazing. I used to compliment her all the time and say nice things about her. I'd always talk to the receptionist. I'd subtly flirt with the receptionist. I never wanted to sleep with her. I wanted to use her as a tool to get the other girls interested in me, because she's a high status person in that room. And yeah, this wasn't the yoga studio I go to intentionally. And I always go there to, I go to one for yoga, I go one for girls. The one for girls is much closer. And yeah, I was just friendly with everyone. I'd talk to everyone. I'm obviously focused on the higher value people to sort of make me look good. But I just did so well there, just so ridiculously well. Sometimes I did a yoga class Sunday night and came back with a girl that, whatever, I woke up this Monday morning and said, hey, I got to do work now. Can you sort of go? Yeah, it's just, if you get one thing from this point, just increase your status. And again, that comes back to social skills, conversation skills, reading body language, asking good open-ended questions, listening well, touch, eye contact, all that sort of thing. So fantastic. So yeah. Oh, do you have the point on the, sorry, is the point up? There should be a point up now. Sorry, guys. That should have been point 6, leadership of men, other people. It's a bit late to put it up now. Hopefully it was before. Great question from Magnus. What are your tips for losing your insecurities? That's a tough one. Okay. I'm just going to give you the honest answer. You might think it's contrived. Get better with women. Get better with women. I grew up incredibly insecure from stuff I've alluded to gently, like ridiculously, horrendously insecure. My appearance, I was basically rejected my whole life. I didn't really have that many friends. I was essentially completely attached to the friends I had, and some of them took savage advantage of me. I was extremely lonely. But yeah, so I built it. You come. I was pretty bloody good at sport, and that gave me some self-esteem. But if I wasn't on a sporting field, there's not much self-esteem to being really good at maths or something at school. Certainly school I went to. Yeah, I was just horrendously insecure. There's a whole, but I could give you a list of things to reduce your insecurities. You could do very serious meditation. Yoga would help. You could obviously see a therapist if you can get a good one. That might help. But to tell you the truth, if you are insecure, the number one thing I would learn as a man and as a woman too is to massively increase your social skills, because that can give you the ability to make friends who are much more suitable for you. That can give you the ability to go into other environments that might be more suitable for you and form relationships quicker. That can, a lot of guys in security do a very good job. That can give you the skills to look good in an interview and get yourself a better job. They can give you the skills to get promoted, potentially over someone who deserved it more than you, and get a better job. We hear this all the time. So I really don't know. I sincerely, I don't know anything more powerful for getting rid of insecurities than improving your social skills, because, and especially social skills with girls. I've said before, social skills is the most important skill in life. Even in engineering, 85% of success is people knowledge, not technical knowledge. And that's probably way, way higher in 2025 because of how integrated the world is. And we're not going to meetings, we're just chatting back and forth and the odd Zoom meeting or something. So yeah, if you can do that, the most cutting edge, most extreme social skills exercise the average man can do is to get much better with women, and to be able to walk up to that girl everyone else is scared shitless of, who's potentially much younger than you, and you got grey hair or you're a bit fat or whatever, and build a good conversation with her, and then get her on a date and whatever else your goals are from there. There's no better social skill than that. You could say being in the CIA and being some sort of spy in a very difficult situation would be better. So that's a good question. So I can't remember if I've said, yeah, I mean, journaling, I think. I'm not a big journaler. I was when I traveled. Just writing stuff. I suppose you can say it's on YouTube. Mushrooms, hallucinogenics. They're freaking amazing at this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't pay a psychologist. I don't pay a business coach. I shouldn't be saying it's on YouTube. I just take a few, whatever, and I'll just sit with a diary and write. And it's like God's guiding me or something. It's incredible. Don't just sit there, go, the plants, the trees, the music at this rave, it's so good. Sit and use it for self-help. I mean, that's essentially what it came from. All the sort of druggies will say, the reason us human apes evolved over the rest of the animal kingdom is because some of us picked up the right mushrooms from a piece of fungus and ate it, and we got these much, much bigger brains. And there's probably some truth to that. But I think the fact that we learned how to build beds high up in trees, we got engineering skills to do that, and we got to get a proper 8 hours a night sleep. I think that might be more. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know any other ways to lose insecurities, to be honest. Just make lots of friends. Make lots of cool friends. Have the ability to make more friends quickly. So if one person's mean to you or someone's rude or you get a girl who treats you badly, just go get another one, go get another one, go get another one. I keep telling guys, you got to get really good and quite disciplined at dumping girls who aren't ticking all the boxes for you, and also for the girl if she's still wanting to have kids and beyond a certain age. But also for your self-esteem. I mean, being stuck in a relationship with the wrong girl, I mean, there's basically no greater pain. There's no greater pain for the average Western guy, a particularly successful guy than that. Being lonely, jerking off in my day, sticking magazines together, or now porn. I mean, that's a pretty horrible life. But being stuck in a toxic relationship where she's got some hold over you, money, kids, just you've got this life together that's very hard to exit from, paying rents, paying mortgages together, whatever it is. I mean, there's no thing worse in life than that. I mean, there's kids in Gaza right now, so I shouldn't judge too harshly, but for most of us, it's the worst pain I've ever known. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Magnus. There's a bunch of questions I said if you want to repost. Tips losing insecurities. Simon, what would be the top 3 things women want? I'll just give that a bit more of a I'll do the meditation question in a second. It's what I said before. It's just be a man. Now, there's going to be that's a great question. Let's build that up. For guys who are sort of beginners, just starting out, haven't slept with and dated quite a bunch of girls they find really attractive before, it would be a different answer. So for the average guy on YouTube, the number one thing women want from a man is to be confident. And that's probably true with the guys who've had a good time, but they've probably already got that. Nothing beats confidence. Confidence is number one. I articulated that wanky word. I said that as be a man, be a man, be a man. What was my example? I didn't want to put up with this guy doing a leaf blower while I'm getting my eyebrows waxed. So I went out and I confronted him in a very forthright manner. And women were just like throwing themselves at me, I forgot, I saw that girl ages later. I had no idea who she was, zero idea who she was. Just some short girl with a big chest, a very big chest. I saw her in clothes, not like her beautician clothes. I never really saw her much because she was always leaning over and I was just sitting like that, breasts against me. And it's just, oh, hey, James, how you doing? And I was like, who are you? So, oh, the girl who rubs her boobs against me when I got my eyebrows waxed. Yeah, she was besotted with me. Sorry about the word. Yeah, just be a man, be a man, be a man. Take charge, take control. Fix problems with your social skills and your confidence. So that would be the number one. So in all cases, what do women really want in a man? Confidence. For the beginner guys, number 2, I mean, you got to be able to dress well and you got to have a bit of a life. You got to have some ambition, some prospects, true. But I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, think number 2 would be conversation. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, think number 2 would be conversation. Because if you just get that, if you can just connect to a woman, it changes the game. I talk about, whatever success I had when I was traveling. And to tell you the truth, the first 2/3 of my travels, or at least half, I dressed like an effing R. It was shocking how badly I dressed. It wasn't until I studied acting at New York Film Academy and made friends with a male model and dated a bunch more models that I actually realized how important this was to women. And I obviously lived in Europe for a while and saw the way they dressed. So I got whatever success I had dressing like a shocking human being, which I'm quite proud of. So yeah, there's all these important things, but yeah, number 1 is confidence. Number 2 is conversation. Conversation with her because you feel connected. And also conversation because you can go out and you can network, you can meet people. You can be the guy who goes to the gym and has the personal trainer or receptionist love him. Then suddenly a girl you'd never get access to before suddenly likes you because you're friends with all the high value people in the room. So yeah, that would be number 1, definitely. So top 3 things to get better with women. For guys starting out, the average YouTube watcher, it would definitely be confidence. Number 2 would be conversation. Beginner level, if you're watching from America, Australia, Canada, it's probably style. Because again, women don't see how tall and handsome you are. They see where they think you sit in status hierarchies, and style Style is so important to women. It's far more important than the job you do initially. You've just got to dress quite well. So again, when guys work with Tess or Natalia or me or whatever, the first two things we do is style and conversation. And a lot of guys in Western countries think they dress well, generally try too hard. They go on a date, it looks like they're trying too hard. Not in all cases. Guys from Melbourne tend to dress a lot better than guys from other parts of Australia. Guys from New York or LA some LA guys are terrible because they're trying to be so cool. But guys from New York or Boston will tend to dress, or Ann Arbor, a few other places, will tend to dress better than other people. Okie dokie. Okay, well, if you guys have any questions to fire through, I'd love to see them. But yeah, we might last one. That's a big point. We might leave that for another time. Yeah, well, I hope you guys got a ton out of it. Sorry for the bad internet. I'll give you guys just a minute or two for your questions, because there's still a few of you on, not as many as normal usually. We had a great week last week, certainly in terms of views afterwards. So yeah, the wheel of life is in terms of guys showing up isn't what we usually get. But yeah, I'm here for your questions. Ashkay, what was that one? Okay, thanks for putting it up, Tech Guy. Oh, sorry, can you put it back up? Just keep it there so everyone knows what I'm asking. I'd love to know what type of meditation you do and how long you do it for. I'll just do a quick one on this because I have no world-class expertise in meditation. I've done a few Vipassanas. That's a 10-day meditation. Most of my meditation is just Vipassana, but I also read a book called Autobiography of a Yogi, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And I've sort of done a bastard version of those two. So I can tell you specifically what I do. I just focus on my breathing, but if I'm going out my day-to-day life and I can't get there quickly, I'll just sense the breath going in and out my nose. And then if I'm struggling to actually get present, then what I'll do is I'll swap nostrils. That's usually enough. Actually, I'm giving you guys lots of good beginner meditation advice, because I've been under a lot of stress this last 5 years with what COVID did to me and a few bad business mistakes, the ex-girlfriend, a lot. So yeah, meditation has just been my heaven. It's kept me going. Where Yoga Nitra as well is really amazing. Really amazing. I would have lost some boot camps and probably had refunds if it hadn't been for Yoga Nitra, given I've done so many, and occasionally you get really difficult clients, or you get particularly a bunch of staff issues with a bunch of models running around. I've had some horrendous boot camps in terms of dealing with stuff. But yeah, Yoga Nitra and meditation's got me through it. So yeah, I do Vipassana. If anyone wants to meditate, just go do a Vipassana. I mean, you can try some app, and there may be some good ones that will help you, but you've just got to, it's like if you want to get much better with women, immersion. If you want to get much better at meditation, immersion. If you want to get much better at anything, immersion. It's not just a little bit here, a little bit there. I would do that. I mean, there's a whole bunch. There's a famous one. I can't even remember. I've tried a few of them, but I just got bored with it. I just like to do my own meditation. But yeah, if you haven't meditated, you're not prepared to do 10 days or 3 days, yeah, get one of the apps. It's one of the best things you can do in life. So Osho's got his own meditation. That's some of the most freaky stuff I've ever come across in my life, that I love, that really changed my life, that really helped me be a good business coach, and that really helped me be a better dating coach. And I'm very grateful to him for what I mean, he's just out there. But unfortunately, the people I met there were not my genre of people. I went to his ashram in Pune Yoga, which was a wonderful experience. It wasn't really a wonderful experience. It was quite lonely because I didn't really meet anyone I really connected with. There was some weirdos there. But yeah, the actual stuff I taught was, and there was a political nightmare. The stuff I taught was awesome. Okay, Luke. Oh, sorry. The tech guy put it up and I took it down. Can you walk me through what's involved in a date plan and the importance of this? It's basically everything. Great question about Vipassana. I'll do Luke's first. We have a whole, 3 hours on this in the course. So it's quite a complicated thing. It's going to depend on where you live, what sort of girls you're after, what are your hobbies and interests. Are you someone who can do a great date plan that mainly involves walking? How confident are you? Because if you're really, really confident, you can try to sleep with them on the first date, or you can come up with a really good, strong 2-step date plan. Or if you're not very confident, you live a long, long way away, you might need a 3-step date plan. So just a generic one. I'll try to think of a generic one. Okay. I'll just do a good example that I've used, because that's going to be the most clean, rather than trying to coach this hypothetical client. I've tended to intentionally live in places where you don't need to hop in cars, because particularly pre-Uber, the second you hop in a car and the girl has to get into your car, which is really scary, because you can get raped in a car. You can't get raped walking down a street with lots of other people around. Very, very unlikely. So yeah, I've tended to avoid cars, because then you're driving, you got the keys, you got to find parking. It reduces your chance of sex by a long, long way. Or you need to have a lot more attraction to get sex. It's nowhere near as bad as taking you to dinner. It's pretty bad. So yeah, most of my dates have been a case of I meet her somewhere at a cafe, preferably somewhere that shows off who I am. If you're a drinky guy, you like alcohol, or you're a younger guy, you want to sort of bang them as quickly as you can. A late night bar date, excellent for that. I did a lot of them in Europe, and a few of them in Sydney too, but I did a few of them in Europe. I did a lot of them in New York, because there's a very high caliber of girls there. So with me, it'd just be a cafe, and we'll sit there. If it's a bookstore cafe, 10 times better, because that sort of showcases who I am. And I basically just take them for a bit of a walk, and I was lucky I lived in Bondi, which does make things easier. And I'd walk along the beach. And then I'd probably just sit down somewhere with her and just talk to her, build rapport. Sometimes lots of people around, whatever, lots of stuff to talk about. And sometimes watch the sunset together. I try to avoid dinner at all costs. I'd say, I'm a Buddhist, I eat early, or come up with some reason I didn't want to eat early, which is true. And then, I'd usually just pitch to get them back to my place. And it worked a lot. It really worked a lot. If you get touch, eye contact, body language right, you're astounded how quickly women just come back to your place, throw their legs open, because they're so excited. They're so excited. Finally, a guy who actually gets this. So I'm having to pick him up. I'm just being swept off my feet by a real man in the moment. And that real man can be skinny fat. He can be short. He can be old. He can be anything. And then, I'd pitch him to go back to my place. That often worked when I was really promiscuous. I tell you stories now. I mean, I'm nowhere near that level now, because my desire to whatever change my girlfriend every 2 weeks, or my time to change my girlfriend every 2 weeks, it's just not there. I haven't been around women I'm really attracted to for a long time, like I was in New York or Eastern Europe or something. And then if I can't get them back to my place from sitting on the beach after sunset, then I'll generally have a cafe or a bar sort of on the way back to my house. But again, Bondi's very lucky. There's a beautiful pavilion balcony where I try to build more and more rapport there. So basically, I don't know, we'd need to actually look at where you live and what you could do, but that should give you some really good, my brain was, what you call it? Whippersnippers going today. That should really give you some good perspective on what to look for. Don't sit down and have dinner with her. Don't spend much money. That's the main things. We may, wrapping up with Vipassana is probably not very dating coachy. What was your experience with a 10-day Vipassana? I did them in Australia, and I wasn't really that happy, simply because my first one in Thailand was the most remarkable thing that has ever happened to me in my life, I think. It was bloody close. It was extraordinary for anyone who's had cups of a certain substance. It was probably better than that. Maybe not as efficient in time per minute. It was truly extraordinary, truly life-changing. There's no way I'd be a dating coach if it wasn't for this. I'd be back in finance trying to stack millions on top of millions on top of millions, probably married some toxic former model. It completely changed my life. I mean, so many of my insecurities, so many of my falling outs in male-male relationships, some of the problems I had at work, right? I have a fight with a $70 billion company in the 90s, in the early 2000s. So much of that just vanished. Like a guy who completely changed my life because he basically mentored me in finance, taught me all the technical stuff. Amazing. We had a falling out because he sort of pinched a client from me. And I was like, and I had a huge string of clients who knew him. So I'm like, dude, this is going to make me millions and millions of dollars, and you're getting access to my stream that I did it all for. But I saw his, oh, shut up, Gecko. But then I saw his point of view in why he wanted the client. So yeah, it's so much about the way I was not particularly happy with what my dad did once I sort of got much older than 10, 12. I saw through this. It's like they're getting a bit passionate here. It's like you've got these problems, you've got these roadblocks in your life that are just awful, they're terrible, they're horrible. Then you just sit and they train you for 10 days. And then it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, I think. It's excruciatingly difficult the first few days. Because I was a pretty good athlete. And I drank a lot of Crownies in Australia and a bunch of other stuff too. One time I drank a liter of Bundaberg rum. I probably had 900 mils of that in like half an hour and said, I just drank nearly a liter of Bundy, and mate, I just had 2 Crownies or something. I was on my second beer, and then I went, I don't know why I talked about that. But anyway, I done a lot of damage to my body and smoked for nearly 20 years. The dumbest thing I've ever done in my life, pretty much. But yeah, so the first few days of Vipassana was horrendous. But it completely changed my life. It completely changed my life. It also made me realize my number one problem in the world is not going back to finance and getting my clients back. It's not getting back to the income level I was before. Nothing to do with that. My number one problem in life was I completely sucked with women. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I was the Nobel Prize winner for being the worst guy with women ever. it was laughable. I tell my girlfriends and my coaches, I've told a series or 2 by girlfriends, I tell them stories of how incompetent I was, like memorizing girls' number plates and driving after them when I was too scared to talk to them in real life. And oh my God, yeah, I've told them on my boot camp, people just laugh and think I'm lying or making these stories up how bad I was. But yeah, and I literally after Vipassana, I literally said, okay, I've got to fix this. I literally flew across the world and did a completely awful dating boot camp with someone who's very famous. It turned out I'd slept with hotter girls than him, and I thought I was clueless and hopeless. Literally, he was drooling over photos of girls I'd slept with. Drooling. This guy was a lot more desirable than me by most metrics of height and good looking and age and that sort of thing. Much more desirable. But yeah, and it was a very awkward path because I did the wrong things in many, many ways. I started doing pickup artist stuff briefly, which was just horrible. But yeah, with a whole bunch of mistakes, eventually led me to where I am now. So if I hadn't done Vipassana, none of this would exist. There's no way, no how. I would have never had I've never had the courage to leave, pretty much certain comfort, extreme riches, and massive status in finance to do this stupid little take a few guys out to a bar and a bookstore and give them some lines and do a bunch of demonstrations, give them some openers. So yeah, it completely changed my life. But yeah, so many problems vanished. It's been a lifelong practice I've tried to stay with. Anyway, I've really crapped on about Vipassana. We're going to leave with something dating related. But I don't know. Yeah, it was amazing. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was so close to leaving the first few days. But it was so magnificent. And the value meditation has added to my life is, extreme social skills, somewhat modestly, but meditation would have to be up there. Travel was enormous as well, because that's what led me to meditation. And funnily enough, what got me onto meditation? A Polish model. So I followed her halfway down India. 2 Polish models, actually. I sort of caught one of them. And yeah, but again, having the skills to get extraordinary women in your life. If it wasn't for this relationship I had with a girl who was, many years later, even sort of love of my life, I'd have never had the sort of awareness of something spiritual, that there is more than basically just Newtonian physics to the world. I just thought this was complete nonsense. It was only really dating her that opened me up to that. And there was another girl I was trying to sleep with who I failed when I was much younger. She gave me a book called The Celestine Prophecy, which wasn't great, but it was my first taste. So that's what did it then. Okie dokie. Well, you guys usually throw questions at me at the 75-minute mark. We're not today. I might sign off from there. I'm going to get a bit of a Ashkay says this is going to be a very bad ending to my YouTube live. You guys are all still watching, so I don't know, someone's valuing it. A whole bunch of guys switch off when I do YouTube. Ashkay, I'm being a meditation coach here, which I've got no place doing, no place at all. The big tip is to actually do some research online and find out which are the really good meditation centers. I believe there's one in the Gold Coast that's pretty good, although there's cars nearby. I believe there's one in New Zealand that's exceptional. And I believe there's one in Tasmania that's pretty good too. You want to make sure they've got the rooms, because when I went into the room, I just blasted off to space like I had cups of a certain thing, like 3 cups of a certain thing. I was off with the clouds. What's the famous Bill Hicks line? For anyone who likes comedy, Bill Hicks is second greatest of all time. Take 5 grams and see God. Was it? Don't take half a gram and see colors. Take 5 grams and see God. The great Bill Hicks. Hopefully I don't get cancelled from YouTube for saying that. The immensely great Bill Hicks. Anyway, I can't leave a dating thing with Bill Hicks, but that looks like how we're going. Oh, great question, Luke. Thank you for giving me something dating related. That's a Stella and Luke's questions. There's another guy, the German guy. I get excited by your questions. Okay, we're not signing off. James, are you still in contact with your old colleagues, or have you moved on? Are most of them stuck in sexless marriage, seen as common corporate? You'd better believe it, my friend. Yeah, it's a complete train wreck. It is a nightmare. Apart from the guy who was really good and taught me a lot. Basically, he was a close friend of mine. And I copied his public speaking skills. He got me the job that made me sort of very, 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 very comfortable by age 30, and paid way more than I knew. He's done okay. But he had real skills with women. He had real social skills. The rest of them, it's just been a train wreck. It's so horrible. It's just so horrible. Yeah, because I'm not very about you because I've never met you, but most of them I think are really good with women because I've dated a bunch of models. Like a guy who turned out to be my favorite client, who I can't remember, it was 3 or 4 million pounds sterling in 2001. Which is, I don't know, 7 or 8 million Aussie. And he'd done a whole bunch of 1.6 sterling prior to that. Maybe not paid a hell of a tax on that either. Anyway, should probably scrub that from YouTube. And yeah, I mean, before I coached him, it was just so bad. Just so bad. Always with the wrong women, because the girls pick them up, but they don't see it. They don't understand. And if you do have enough to get, you get the most cunning, sophisticated girls coming out after you. There's a great book called Madame Bovary. I'm not going to try to pronounce the French name, that tells a story of a suburban doctor, wealthy guy relative to the villages he's visiting, who meets this beautiful young French country girl from an unsophisticated family, and she somehow gets her claws into him, and she just controls him and manipulates him and destroys him his whole life. And the book ends, the guy was totally clueless about what a Amber Heard on steroids she was. So yeah, that is very, very, very much the case. The other problem with very successful guys is they just don't have the time. They just don't have the time to actually learn these skills. I'd have never got anywhere if I didn't leave finance. If you're a busy, successful, 50, 60, 70-hour a week guy consistently, it's very hard. I mean, I've probably said this before. I mean, I said this at a speech I never published because of a 21 convention speech. It would have probably got millions of views, or at least 1 million views, because I called the speech "How Women Test, Control, and Manipulate Men." It would have gone completely viral when all those misogynist red pills were starting, and I was much more balanced, still pointing out flaws with women, but giving the woman's point of view as well. And yeah, I said in that speech, this is before Elon Musk gave us freedom of speech and went from an extraordinary businessman to top 3 of all time. Some people would say number 1 if he continues the way he's going. People who've actually done good for the world, he's number 1 by far. But yeah, I said in that speech, I said, yeah, we need to get all the financial analysts, we need to get all the fund managers lobbying that Elon Musk has to break up with Amber Heard, because it could destroy Tesla and it could destroy SpaceX. And it probably would have. And he admitted the saddest he's ever been in his life wasn't losing a child. It was the child died young. It wasn't seeing his son go trans, which he's still very bitter about. It was breaking up with Amber Heard. And I'm like, sorry, YouTube, that is the most toxic bitch. You could just look at her and tell. She hit it pretty well. Equally, the one, Brad Pitt, Mr. Most Desirable Man in the World. He got himself one of them, and he left, quite a sweet, lovely, good girl. And that's true, because I've lived in LA. There's all the key grip and the makeup artist and the film guys, they all said she was just lovely, whereas Angela Jolie's the exact opposite. So yeah, high value guys don't have the skills they need. Some of them may have social skills, but they don't understand women's tests or psychology. They just don't know when they're being played. And again, I don't know what you're worth or what you make or anything, but yeah, if you get a guy who makes, $250,000, $500,000, or a guy who's got millions in assets, or even bought a home a while ago, in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane or Perth, that girl doesn't need to work again. She's set. Live with a guy for 2 years, have a kid. I mean, yeah, accuse him. 18 months ago, you were drunk and we got home from a party. I said I didn't want to have sex. You just kept going and going and going. I felt taken advantage of and felt like an object. I texted my mum and my girlfriend this. You can't even remember what the freaking hell she's talking about. And then because of those text messages, she sent someone, possibly planned, just like any girl who marries a rich guy is going to go see every divorce lawyer in that jurisdiction so that the guy can't get anyone decent. And I'm going to take you to court for rape. And you're like, what? What? I can't even touch a girl, let alone rape her. I can't even touch a girl properly, let alone rape her. And your life's over. So yeah, guys they're picking the most toxic, horrible girls. A really dear friend of mine who's a male model. He's not like rich, not like finance rich, but he's got plenty of money. He dropped $400 US in an investment that didn't affect his quality of life at all. His dad's some sort of specialist doctor. I think his mum's a doctor too. A fly around America male model. We played basketball together and go to ashrams together. Yeah, I mean, he's just having horror story after horror story of this girl broke his heart. This girl took him to court. This girl this girl that. She's a really sweet, decent, lovely, wonderful human being who's hot as hot can be, who's athletic. He's a really good person. And he's smart and he's successful. But he's just very naive about women. And he thinks he's good with women. He's had all these stupidly hot girls. I don't know if he'd compete with me, but he'd certainly give it a shot. If you look at the photos of some of his girlfriends, but he just knows nothing about women. I keep sending him a link to Tessa's calendar going, dude, it's free. I'm just paying the wages. Just do it. And yeah, won't do it because he's got such an ego. So yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I mean, the guy who mentored me, he got taken for most of his wealth, had to fight to see the kid in part of the battle for that wealth. then he got another girl like that, and you know, it's a tragedy. I'm crapping on. I'm going to wrap up now. YouTube's probably not interested in this, but if you actually get the high levels of finance, sorry, I wasn't hanging out with Michael Milken or Warren Buffett or anything. That sounds stupid. But when you actually get around New York guys and you see how intertwined the highest levels of finance are with high-class whores, it's like they're interbreeding. It's extraordinary. So yeah, it's not a good story. If you've got any specific questions on that subject, I'd love to know. Because that's something that's very interesting to me, because that's a lot of my clients. But yeah, I got some real rants there. I don't know what happened to my view time when I do these long rants, but you guys, no one's left. So thank you. You guys like my rants. So the YouTube audience, there's a whole bunch of guys who like my rants. It's the same number here when I started. There could have been a few sign on. Yeah, so yeah, for the very successful doctors are probably even worse than the finance guys, because the finance guys will often have better social skills than the doctors. Doctors obviously don't make the sort of money finance guys do, nowhere near. But yeah, it's the same genre of problem, just wrong girl. So often it's a nurse or a doctor, and she just treats them appallingly. Because yeah, they're just so busy to actually get anywhere. From what I know about you, if I was you, I can't remember your age, I can't remember much about you, I would just give up apps altogether. It's like, no, I'm going to meet a girl in real life. I'm not going to have this comfy thing of putting a few cool photos of you up and just getting sex on tap. I don't think it's helping your life. It's just like me meeting some Brazilian girl's a waitress at a cafe, and she brings me something. I'm like, I can tell she's Brazilian or something. Oh, obrigado. And she's, thank you in my language. And then she starts asking me questions, and end up sleeping with her. And like, I want to marry someone. I want to write a best-selling book. I want to meet my mission and completely transform the lives of 10 million clients by my 58th birthday, when I've completely transformed the lives of thousands. I've got a lot to go. When I say completely transformed, I mean made a vast difference. So yeah, it's just easy sex. I mean, all the threesomes I had is like in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Where's my best-selling book? Where's my gigantic dating business or YouTube channel? Or, yeah, it's a very sleeping lots of girls, especially threesomes, is an incredibly pleasant way to waste a lot of time. So yeah, anyway, I'm giving you a bit of a personal rant. As I said, I know you don't want to do it, just book in with Tess. I mean, 45 minutes, the value per minute you'll get from that versus coming to this, which is really, really valuable. I don't necessarily want you to stop. I love your questions. Will be incredible. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to sign off there. So yeah, love you regulars. You seem to appreciate my rants. No one's left. One person just left. So anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to eat. I'm really hungry. So yeah, love you regulars. I haven't really called you out by name. So Magnus, Ashkay, German guy wasn't there. Simon's a new guy. Jez, Stavros. Love you guys. Thank you for your support. There's a whole bunch of regulars who aren't that active in the comments. But yeah, really love you guys and your support. Thank you so much, Magnus. Look forward to seeing you on a boot. Are you on a boot camp or not? You might just be doing the online program. Anyway, look forward to serving you at some point in the future. Thank you so much to you regulars, because you guys are helping me build it. I really value your questions, and I want to do everything I can to serve you. In part for good karma, in part because this was such a horrible amount of pain for me, especially when I became really successful by the standards of anyone I grew up with, and I just couldn't get this solved. It was extraordinarily painful. Anyway, I'm going to shut up there and go fill my skinny body with a lot of food, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks to all the regulars. Cheers.